الحمد لله الحمد لله كتب الآثار ونسخ الآجال والقلوب عنده مفضية والسر عنده علانية الحلال ما أحل والحرام ما حرم الدين ما شرع والأمر ما قضى والخلق خلقه والعبد عبده وهو الله الرؤوف الرحيم الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله صلى الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن عدة الشهور عند الله 12 شهرا في كتاب الله يوم خلق السماوات والأرض منها 4 حرم ذلك الدين القيم فلا تظلموا فيهن أنفسكم وقاتلوا المشركين كافة كما يقاتلونكم كافة واعلموا أن الله مع المتقين صدق الله مولانا العظيم يا رب صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم नक्शे कदम नबी के हैं जन्नत के रास्ते अल्लाह से मिलाते हैं सुन्नत के रास्ते My dear respected viewers, my dear respected mothers and sisters and children listening at home, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, before me many ulama, many scholars have delivered very knowledgeable, very eye-opening reminders, speeches, including the history and the virtues of Fada'il of Muharram, and even the incident happened in Karbala. May Allah reward all the scholars before me, and may Allah enlighten me with barakah to conclude in the final speech what I have said before me. My dear respected brothers and sisters, Allah Azza wa Jal mentions in the Holy Quran in Surah Tawbah, verse number 36, indeed, the number of the months ordained by Allah is 12. In Allah's record, since the day He created the heavens and the earth, of which 4 are sacred. Minha arba'atun hurum, that out of the 12 months, Allah Azza wa Jal Himself has said, 4 months are the sacred months. That is the right way. So do not wrong one another during these months, and together fight the polytheists as they fight against you together, and know that Allah is with those who are mindful of Him. My dear respected brothers and sisters, Allah Azza wa Jal has mentioned in this Surah Tawbah that since Allah created the universe, Allah also created the 12 months. And out of these 12 months, Allah Himself declared the 4 months. And those 4 months are the month of Rajab, the month of Dhul Qa'dah, Dhul Hijjah and Muharram. These 4 months are sacred, and these have been specified by Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Muharram is the first Islamic Hijri calendar month, and Dhul Hijjah is the last. So we see that Islamic calendar begins with Muharram and ends with the month of Dhul Hijjah. And if you see both months, it is full of the sacrifices given by the heroes of Islam. In the month of Dhul Hijjah, we see the great Uthman ibn Affan radiallahu anhu, he was martyred straight after Hajj. And on the first of Muharram, we see another greats of Islam, Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu, was also martyred. And on the 10th of Muharram, we see Hazrat Hussein radiallahu anhu, who was martyred. But the issue is the fada'il and the virtues of Muharram is from day one, my brothers. is from day one Allah has made the month of Muharram the sacred month. And Allah Azza wa Jal mentions Himself in the Holy Quran, Minha arba'atun hurum. And also Hazrat Qatada rahimahullah has said that Allah mentions فَلَا تَظْلِمُوا فِيهِنَّ أَنفُسَكُمْ, that do not wrong yourself, do not do zulm, do not oppress yourself in these months. What it means that any sinful activity is haram, is bad, is evil anyway, in any month, in any day. But in these 4 months, the intensity of the sins and evil in these months is increased. So one has to be very careful, especially in these 4 months. So Qatada rahimahullah, he has said, Inna Allah astafa safaya min khalqi. Allah has chosen specific things from the creation of Allah. For example, he says Allah has chosen amongst the angels some angels to be messengers. Then Allah has chosen amongst the people, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ رُسُلًا. Amongst the people, Allah has also chosen some people to be prophets of Allah Azza wa Jal. وَاصْطَفَى مِنَ الْكَلَامِ ذِكْرَهُ. Allah has also chosen amongst the speeches, amongst the kalam, Allah chose the dhikrullah to be the best of speech. وَاصْطَفَى مِنَ الْأَرْضِ الْمَسَاجِدِ. Amongst the earth, amongst the land, Allah has chosen masajid as the best of places. وَاصْطَفَى مِنَ الشُّهُورِ رَمَضَانِ. Allah has chosen from the months, Allah has chosen Ramadan to be the best of the months. وَالْأَشْهُرُ الْحُرُمِ, and the sacred months, Allah has chosen to be sacred. وَاصْطَفَى مِنَ الْأَيَّامِ. Amongst the days, Allah has chosen Yawmul Jumu'ah, the day of Friday. وَاصْطَفَى مِنَ اللَّيَالِ. Amongst the nights, Allah has chosen Laylatul Qadr. So فَعَزِّمُوا مَا عَزَّمَ اللَّهِ. So take it sacred. Treat it with sacredness, what Allah has made it sacred. فَإِنَّمَا تُعْظَمُ الْأُمُورِ. And all those things are respected, which was respected and made sacred by Allah Azza wa Jal amongst the people of Fahm and Aql. So my dear respected brothers, this is what we learn about the virtues of the month of Muharram, which was great month, a month regarding which we hear Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Before even Karbala happened, brothers, for your reference, I would like to highlight that the incident of Karbala, in which the greatest of Sahabi, Hussein radiallahu anhu, was martyred, innocently he was martyred amongst his family members. He was very mercilessly was martyred in the field of Karbala. And this happened around 50 years after Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away. This happened in 60 years of Hijri calendar. This was 50 years approximately after Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away. But Prophet of Allah used to treat the month of Muharram, specifically Yawm Ashura, the day of Ashura, which is the 10th of Muharram, was respected and was marked by fasting. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to fast every year on Ashura. In fact, according to ulama Ahnaf, the fasting of Ashura was farz before the fasting of Ramadan became farz. Number one. Number two, another point is when Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam came to Medina, Hazrat Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma mentions in a hadith of Bukhari and Muslim that Prophet of Allah and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam qadim al-Madina, when he came to Medina after Hijrah, after migration, فَوَجَدَ الْيَهُودِ صِيَامًا. Prophet of Allah realized and he found the Jews who used to live at that time in Medina, in surrounding areas of Medina. He was told that the Jews are fasting on the day of Ashura, on the 10th of Muharram. So Prophet of Allah, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, inquired from them that why do you fast on this day of Ashura? They say that we fast because Allah delivered Prophet Musa alayhi salam from the oppression of Fir'aun. Allah freed Prophet Musa and Bani Israel, our forefathers. The Jews said our forefathers were delivered, were liberated, were helped against Pharaoh, Fir'aun of Egypt on the day of Ashura. So we thank Allah. We thank God by fasting. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Nahnu ahaqqu wa awla bi Musa minkum." Don't you know that we are more close to Prophet Musa than you are. And we are already fasting anyway, but we will continue fasting even with this in mind, that Allah helped my brother, Prophet Musa alayhi salam. So we're going to also thank Allah because we are close to Musa alayhi salam more than you. So this teaches us that Prophet of Allah Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Muslims of Sahaba, the Muslims, Sahaba of Makkah and Medina, they used to respect and mark the month of Muharram, specifically the day of Ashura. Moving on, my brothers, this month nowadays in this day and age is also related to the family of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam known as Ahlul Bayt. My dear brothers and sisters, for your reference, it's very important to know the importance of Ahlul Bayt and who are people of Ahlul Bayt. In the Holy Quran, Allah Azza wa Jal speaks directly addressing the wives of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Surah Al-Ahzab, verse number 32 and then 33 onwards. Allah Azza wa Jal says, "A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Ya nisaa an-nabiyyi lastunna ka ahadin minan nisaa. إن اتقيتن فلا تخضعن بالقول فيطمع الذي في قلبه مرض وقلن قولا معروفا." This is chapter 33, verse number 32, in which Allah, addressing the wives of the Prophet, Allah Himself has said in Surah Al-Ahzab that, "O wives of the Prophet, you are not like any other woman. If you are mindful of Allah, then do not be overly effeminate in speech with men, or those with sickness in their hearts may be tempted, but speak in a moderate tone." In the next verse, chapter 33, verse 33, Allah also says, وَقَرْنَ فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ وَلَا تَبَرَّجْنَ تَبَرُّجَ الْجَاهِلِيَّةِ الْأُولَى وَأَقِمْنَ الصَّلَاةَ وَآتِينَ الزَّكَاةَ وَأَطِعْنَ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ اللَّهُ لِيُذْهِبَ عَنْكُمُ الرِّجْسَ أَهْلَ الْبَيْتِ وَيُطَهِّرَكُمْ تَطْهِيرًا. This ayah, this verse is better known as Ayat al-Tathir amongst the ulama and amongst the scholars. In this ayah, chapter 33, my brothers and sisters, open the Quran and check this reference for yourself and increase your knowledge. We should always speak and investigate and do research. I would like to highlight and say one point, my brothers and sisters. Wherever you are listening at home, Sahaba, Azwaj Mutahharat, Ahlul Bayt, they are not historical people. वो तारीखी शख्सियात नहीं. Rather, they are Quranic people. You need to find them in the Quran. You need to find them in the Sahih Hadith of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You don't look for them in history. You look for them in the Quran because Allah spoke about them in the Holy Quran and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam spoke about him in his Ahadith. In this ayah, verse number 33 of chapter 33, Surah Al-Ahzab, Allah has said, وَقَرْنَ فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ, that, O wives of the Prophet, settle in your homes and do not display yourselves as women did in the days of pre-Islamic ignorance, the days of Jahiliyyah. وَأَقِمْنَ الصَّلَاةِ, establish your prayers. وَآتِينَ الزَّكَاةِ, give your zakah. وَأَطِعْنَ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ, and obey Allah and His Messenger. Allah only intends to keep the cause of evil away from you and purify you completely, O the members of the family of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Allah Himself in the Holy Quran called the Ahlul Bayt to who? The family, the wives of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This is very common sense, very logical understanding that Ahlul Bayt, household members or family members, includes your wife, includes your children. So Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had Azwaj al-Mutahharat, who are the mothers of the believers. وَأَزْوَاجُهُ أُمَّهَاتُهُنَّ, the wives of the Prophet of Allah are the mothers of all believers. So all his wives, without any exception, are the mothers of all believers. We love and respect all of them, we revere them. Number two, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not only have one daughter, like some people highlight this point that Prophet of Allah only had one daughter. He had not only one daughter. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam altogether had 7 children. Prophet of Allah had 4 daughters and he had 3 sons. 6 children, they were born from his first wife, Hazrat Khadija, who spent 28 years with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And Prophet of Allah would be fond of her, he would love her. Even after she passed away, he would remember her, he would miss her. So she bore 6 children to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, 4 daughters and 2 sons. The daughters' names were Hazrat Zainab radiallahu anha, Kulsum radiallahu anha, Hazrat Ruqayya radiallahu anha, and Hazrat Fatima radiallahu anhunna ajma'een. And the 2 sons, Abdullah and Qasim. These 6 children were born from Hazrat Khadija radiallahu anha. And one more son, Ibrahim, was born from his other wife called Hazrat Maria Qibtiyya radiallahu anha. So altogether, my brothers and sisters, he had 7 children. And they are all part of Ahlul Bayt. My question to the public is that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that Prophet of Allah, who did not allow his ummah to differentiate between the children. You cannot love one son or one child over the other more than others. You have to be fair and do adl and justice between all children. Then how can the Prophet of Allah himself not do that justice between all of his children? So like we love Fatima radiallahu anha, we love all his daughters and all his children. And for your knowledge, you should know, Hazrat Fatima, she was married off to very famously, very known person, Hazrat Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu anhu. What about the 3 other daughters? Who were they married to? Why don't we talk about them? Why don't we know about them? Hazrat Zainab, his eldest daughter, she was also amongst the children who accepted Islam in the early days of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Hazrat Zainab, she was married to a person called Abu al-As ibn Rabi' radiallahu anhu, who was from Banu Umayyah. And then the other daughter, Kulsum, she was married to Usman ibn Affan, but before she moved into his house, before she done rukhsati, she passed away. And in the time of Battle of Badr, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam married his other daughter, Hazrat Ruqayya, to Usman ibn Affan radiallahu anhu. The only person in the history who's known as Zunnurain, the person of 2 lights, because he married not one, but the 2 daughters of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. No other human has had this honor ever in the whole of mankind. So Usman ibn Affan, he was known as Zunnurain because he married not one, but one after the other, he married the 2 daughters of one Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And then they had children. Like we know Hassan, Hussein, the children of Hazrat Fatima, likewise Hazrat Zainab, Prophet Muhammad's eldest daughter, she also had 2 children, 1 boy, 1 girl, from Abu al-As ibn Rabi. وَعَلَىٰ كُلِّ أَوْلَادِ بَنَاتِ عَلِيِّ ibn Abi al-As Qasim. And Hazrat Zainab's son's name was Ali, and her daughter's name was Umama. These 2 were also the grandchildren of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Hazrat Ruqayya, the wife of Usman, she also had 1 son known as Abdullah bin Usman. He was also grandson of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And moving on, Hazrat Fatima, she also had grandchildren to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Hassan, Hussein, Zainab, Muhsin, and others. As a Muslim, it's our duty that we know our history, we know our seerah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we know about his family, because we're supposed to love Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam more than we love ourselves. One of the previous speech by Hazrat Moulana Sahab was very amazing about the tarbiyah of children and some lessons learned from Ahlul Bayt, especially Hazrat Hassan and Hussein. First of all, brothers, we understand that the Quran has called Ahlul Bayt to be the wives of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then because Allah praised them, Allah purified them from all kind of rijs, and Allah has purified them from all kind of evil. Allah made them blessed and full of barakah. The same blessing Allah's Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam wanted to move on and pass it on to his other family members. So he called Ali ibn Abi Talib, he called Hazrat Fatima, Hazrat Hassan and Hussein, and he covered them with a shawl and said, "Oh Allah, they are also my Ahlul Bayt, oh Allah, also purify them." So they are all part of Ahlul Bayt. So we know that all the wives of Prophet of Allah, they are pak, they are pure, they are all greats of Islam. Regarding the tarbiyah of Hazrat Hassan and Hussein, we know that Hazrat Hassan was born in 3rd Hijri and Hazrat Hussein was born in the 4th Hijri. And both of them were 6 and 7 when Prophet of Allah moved on and he passed away. Prophet of Allah, he did tahniq. He gave some sweet. After chewing that sweet himself, he gave it to his grandchildren, Hazrat Hassan and Hussein. Likewise, he gave adhan in their ears when they were born. He did aqiqah. He slaughtered, sacrificed 2 animals for his grandchildren. He cut their hair and gave sadaqah. And then he named, Hazrat Ali being the father, named his son Hazrat Hassan. He named him Harb, which means war and brave man. But Muhammad said, no, they are Hassan. He's Hassan. And likewise, he is Hussein and not Harb. Prophet of Allah, from him, Hazrat Hassan, he relates a hadith from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Somebody asked Hazrat Hassan that, do you know any hadith from Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam or any story from him? He said that one day as a child, I ate a date, which was the date of sadaqah, which was donated, which was a charity by someone. And by mistake, I ate that date. But because we are Sayyid, we are Ahlul Bayt, and Sadaqah and Zakat is not allowed for us to be consumed, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not allow me to eat that even one date. And Prophet of Allah, he came and he himself taken out the date from my mouth and he said, we do not eat Sadaqah. So this is a sign of tarbiyah, that make sure that our children are eating halal and haram, and they know the difference between halal and haram. They're only eating halal, they are staying away from haram. Likewise, Hazrat Hassan, he says, Muhammad sallam, he taught me dua for qunut, meaning he gave them the ta'aleem and tarbiyah. And Prophet of Allah also taught them how to not send a beggar or someone who asks, not to send them back. My brothers and sisters, so much was said, mashallah, and I'm sure you heard and you benefited from their speeches. The bottom line is, in this month, on the day of Ashura, which is tomorrow, which is Monday, it is recommended to fast. Prophet of Allah used to fast. It is recommended for us to fast. And because Jews, Yahud used to also fast, so Muhammad said that we need to be different. My brothers and sisters, this is a point was highlighted by one of the scholars earlier, that Islam and Prophet of Allah did not even like us imitating or copying others even in the matters of ibadah. Then how can we copy and imitate others in the matters in which is not ibadah? So Prophet of Allah said, if I am alive next year, then I will also fast on the 9th. On the 9th day, which is today, I would fast. And then the day of Ashura, I will also fast. So this is recommended and is sunnah. And Allah forgives the sins of 1 year if somebody is fasting on the day of Ashura. Also, brothers, final point for my all youth out there. In the month of Muharram, many Sahaba, na'udhu billah, they are rebuked at. They are criticized at. But as a Muslim, we have the aqeedah, like we read in the Holy Quran, لا نفرق بين أحد من رسله. We do not differentiate between any prophets. We love and respect and believe in all prophets, don't we? We believe in Adam alayhi salam, the first messenger, and we believe in Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the last messenger. In between, we believe in love all of them. Our iman is in all prophets. Likewise, there are stages amongst the Sahaba. Like after Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and all prophets, we believe Abu Bakr is number 1. Hazrat Umar ibn Khattab is number 2. Usman ibn Affan number 3. Ali ibn Abi Talib number 4. And likewise Ashar ibn Bashar and other Sahaba. But generally speaking, we believe in all of them. Generally speaking, we love all of them. And every Sahabi, as I said earlier, they are Quranic people. They are not historical people. We need to ask the Quran what Allah thought about them, what Allah thinks about them, and Allah has praised them. Allah has said, "Kullan wa'adallahu al-husna," that every single Sahabi. The definition of Sahabi is, no matter how old they were, young or old, if they saw or if they were in the Ma'iyyah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and they were Muslims, and they passed away in the state of Islam, they are known as Sahabi. And no one from Ummah can become better than Sahaba. And every Sahabi will go to Jannah, without any exception. They say every group has a dropout. Every community has a dropout. You will always find one or two dropouts from every group. But the group of Sahaba has no dropouts. Every Sahabi is unique. Every Sahabi was accepted. Every Sahabi had the certificate of Ridwanullah, radiyallahu anhum wa radu an, that Allah is pleased with them and they are pleased with Allah. My brothers and sisters, Allah has said regarding Sahaba, أُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ امْتَحَنَ اللَّهُ قُلُوبَهُمْ لِلتَّقْوَى, that Allah has taken the test of their hearts to see if there is taqwa. Allah Himself declared, لَهُمْ مَغْفِرَةٌ, they have maghfirah, they have ajr azim. Allah passed them in the test. So this is very important for us, that in the month of Muharram, we do not entertain any arguments or any debate in which any Sahabi is ridiculed at, is criticized. Hazrat Muawiyah and any other Sahabi, they are greats of Islam, they must be respected. If we now entertain any thoughts or any ill thoughts about any Sahabi, then there is a question on our own Iman, not on their Iman. May Allah enable me and all of us to act upon what has been said, and anything wrong we have said, may Allah forgive us, and may Allah accept in today's event, today's effort about Fadail al-Muharram and Sahaba Ikram and Al-Bayt. May Allah reward the Iqra TV, Imam Qasim Sahib and all for allowing us for this beautiful opportunity to discuss all this. Jazakallahu khair. Assalamu alaikum.